In the world of American politics, there are leaders who simply hold office, and then there are those who dedicate their entire lives to service. David Scott was one of those rare individuals. For decades, he stood as a voice for the people of Georgia, fighting for farmers, advocating for health care, and pushing for economic growth. But today, that voice has gone silent. In this video, we're going to take a deep and emotional journey through his life, from his early struggles to his rise in Washington, and finally, the truth surrounding his death. This is not just a story about politics. This is the story of a life filled with determination, resilience, and legacy. Stay with me. David Scott was born on June 27, 1945, in Aner, South Carolina, a small and quiet town in the American South. Growing up during a time when racial segregation and inequality were still widespread, his early life was far from easy. His family didn't have much money, and like many families of that era, they had to work extremely hard just to survive. As a child, David didn't stay in one place for too long. His family moved frequently, and at times, he lived with relatives in different states like Pennsylvania and New York. Imagine being a young child, constantly adjusting to new environments, new schools, and new challenges. But instead of breaking him, these experiences made him stronger. They taught him how to adapt, how to persevere, and most importantly, how to dream bigger than his circumstances. Even at a young age, David showed signs of leadership. He was curious, determined, and deeply aware of the struggles around him. Those early years planted the seeds of what would later become a lifetime of public service. Education became David Scott's pathway to a better life. He understood that knowledge was power, and he was determined to use it. He attended Florida A&M University, one of the most respected historically black colleges in the United States. There, he studied finance, a field that would later shape both his business and political career. But his journey didn't stop there. David went on to earn his MBA from the University of Pennsylvania, one of the top institutions in the country. This was no small achievement. For someone who came from such humble beginnings, reaching that level of academic success required discipline, sacrifice, and relentless focus. These years didn't just educate him academically, they transformed his mindset. They prepared him to step into the world, not just as a participant, but as a leader. Before stepping into politics, David Scott built a name for himself in the business world. He founded Dane Mark Advertising, a company based in Atlanta. At a time when opportunities for African American entrepreneurs were limited, building a successful business was a major accomplishment. Through his company, he worked closely with communities, businesses, and organizations. He learned how the economy works from the ground level. He understood the struggles of small business owners, and he saw firsthand how policy decisions could impact everyday people. This real-world experience gave him a unique advantage when he later entered politics. He wasn't just speaking from theory, he was speaking from experience. David Scott's journey into politics began in the 1970s. He entered the Georgia House of Representatives, marking the beginning of what would become a decades-long career in public service. From there, he moved to the Georgia State Senate, where he served for many years. During this time, he built a reputation as someone who truly listened to the people. He focused on issues like education, economic development, and equal opportunities. Colleagues described him as passionate, determined, and sometimes even intense, but always committed. These early years were crucial. They shaped his political identity and laid the foundation for his future in national politics. In the year 2002, David Scott reached a major turning point. He was elected to the United States House of Representatives, representing Georgia's 13th congressional district. This wasn't just a personal victory. It was a moment of pride for his community. In Congress, David Scott quickly became known for his strong voice and firm stance on key issues. He advocated for farmers and agricultural workers, affordable health care, economic growth, veterans' rights. He served for over 2 decades, becoming one of the most experienced members of Congress. And throughout those years, one thing remained constant: his commitment to the people. One of the most defining moments of his career came when he became the chairman of the House Agriculture Committee. This position placed him at the center of national agricultural policy. From food production to farming subsidies, his decisions impacted millions of Americans. He worked to support farmers, improve food systems, and strengthen rural communities. Even after stepping down as chairman, he continued to play a key role as a ranking member. His influence didn't fade. It evolved. Behind the politician was a man with a family. David Scott was a husband and a father. Despite his busy schedule, he made time for those closest to him. He valued family deeply, and those who knew him personally often described him as warm and dedicated. He also had a notable connection to baseball legend Hank Aaron, adding an interesting layer to his personal story. But beyond titles and connections, he was simply a man trying to balance duty and family, just like many others. In his later years, David Scott faced increasing scrutiny. Some critics questioned whether he should continue serving due to his age. There were concerns about his health and ability to keep up with the demands of office. But David Scott didn't step away. He remained committed to his role, continuing to serve and even planning future campaigns. For him, public service wasn't just a job, it was a calling. On April 22, 2026, the news broke. David Scott had passed away at the age of 80. The announcement sent shockwaves across the political world. For many, it felt like the end of an era. He passed away while still serving in office, a testament to his lifelong dedication. It's rare to see someone remain so committed until their final days. And that alone speaks volumes about who he was. As of now, the official cause of David Scott's death has not been publicly confirmed. There has been speculation. There have been questions, but no clear answers. In situations like this, it's important to respect privacy and wait for verified information. What we do know is that he lived a long life of 80 years and dedicated most of it to serving others. David Scott's legacy is not just measured in years, it's measured in impact. Nearly 5 decades of public service, countless policies, endless efforts to improve lives. He inspired many young leaders. He represented his community with pride, and he left behind a story that will not be forgotten. David Scott's journey reminds us that no matter where you come from, with determination, hard work, and purpose, you can leave a lasting mark on the world. From a small town in South Carolina to the halls of Congress, his story is one of resilience. And even though he is no longer with us, his legacy will continue to live on. Rest in peace, David Scott.